We all have stories we tell ourselves. But did you know that some of those stories could be running your life? Hi, my name is Matusz Hanidziar, and today we are diving into a story that could be shaping your relationships, the hidden story of unworthiness. Now, I want to start with a story. Imagine that you are walking down a hallway, and every time you reach a door, it opens to reveal the same scene. You walk into a room where you feel small, unimportant, and simply not good enough. Every time you try to leave, you find yourself back in the same room again and again and again. No matter how many doors you open, you just can't escape that feeling of being trapped in your own self doubt. Now, does that sound familiar? This is the cycle of unworthiness, and it's more common than you might think. For the last 7 years, I have worked as a hypnotherapist and coach, helping people break free from these kinds of emotional traps. Today, we are diving deep into the story that keeps many of us stuck, the belief that we are inherently unworthy of love, unworthy of success, and unworthy of happiness. Now, before we get into the details, I want to share a bit about why we fall into this trap in the first place. Now, most of us believe that we see the world as it is, but in reality, we see the world as we believe it to be. We see the world through a lens that is shaped by our past experiences and, more importantly, by the stories we tell ourselves about those experiences. For example, imagine a child who grows up in an environment where their emotional needs are not constantly met. Maybe the love was conditional, or maybe they were criticized or ignored. That child's subconscious mind, trying to protect them from future hurt, starts forming a belief: I am not good enough. Over time, this belief becomes so ingrained that it feels like it's just a part of who they are. And as the child grows into an adult, they continue to perceive the world through this lens of unworthiness, attracting people, attracting situations that confirm this story. Now, let me share a personal story to help explain this concept more clearly. There was once a client I worked with, let's call her Sarah. Sarah was in her late 30s, and for most of her life, she had been in one toxic relationship after another. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't seem to break free from this cycle. The thing was, Sarah had this deep rooted belief that she wasn't worthy of love or respect, a belief that had been planted in her during childhood when her parents were emotionally unavailable. This belief led Sarah to unconsciously choose partners who would validate her feeling of unworthiness. She would pick people who were emotionally distant, who were critical or neglectful because, in a strange way, it felt familiar. It was what her subconscious had learned to expect. Even when someone genuinely cared for her, she would simply push them away, convinced that they would eventually hurt her, just like others had in her past. Once we uncovered this pattern together, Sarah started to realize how deeply her subconscious mind was shaping her reality, just like it happens for all of us. She wasn't consciously choosing these partners. Her subconscious was pulling her toward them because they confirmed her story of unworthiness. Now, as we worked together, she was able to begin healing her inner child and rewriting that story. Over time, Sarah found herself making healthier choices in relationships, and the cycle of unworthiness slowly began to break. Now, before I continue, I want to ask you to take a moment to reflect on this. Are you repeating the same patterns in your relationships? Do you often feel unworthy or maybe not good enough? I encourage you to subscribe to this channel and share this video with someone who might benefit from this message. Together, we can break free from these limiting beliefs. So let's get back to it. Why does this pattern happen? Why do we keep attracting people who confirm our feelings of unworthiness? It all comes down to the way our subconscious mind works. Our brain, designed for survival, wants to make things predictable. It wants to know that what happened in the past will happen again in the future. Now, in doing so, it often filters out new information that could contradict old beliefs, keeping us stuck in unhealthy patterns. For instance, if you grew up with emotional neglect, your brain might filter out signs of love and affection from others, instead focusing on the smallest signs of rejections or indifference. Even if someone expresses genuine love, your subconscious might interpret their actions as criticism or abandonment simply because that is what feels familiar. Now, here is where the real work begins. To break free from this cycle, we need to heal the wounded inner child inside us. This inner child is the part of us that still carries the emotional scars from childhood, and it's the part of us that often drives our behavior in relationships without us even realizing it. One powerful way to begin this healing process is to start noticing the stories you tell yourself about who you are. If you often find yourself thinking, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve love, or I'm always going to end up alone, these are stories shaped by your past. But they don't have to define your future. In fact, you can change these stories. One exercise I recommend to my clients is what I call the Meet Your Story exercise. Over the next couple of days or weeks, take note of the stories you tell yourself, about others, and about the world. Whenever you catch yourself thinking something negative about yourself, like I am not lovable or I always mess things up, write it down. This is your subconscious talking. This is your past story. The goal is not to judge these thoughts, but to recognize them for what they are: old stories that once helped protect you, but maybe no longer serve you. Now, once you become aware of these stories, you can begin to rewrite them and respond differently. And as you do this, you'll start to heal your inner child who still believes in the story of unworthiness, and maybe replacing it with the truth that you are worthy of love, that you are worthy of respect, that you are worthy of happiness. So, what do you think? Does this resonate with your experiences? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you very much.